Happy New Year, Blue Worms. Merry Christmas. Merry November, I believe, was the last time I saw you. Basically, I did a big update video yesterday. Loads of stuff. Just probably out of guilt. But seeing as I did it, getting home in the rain on my motorbike at like 10 at night, after a really crappy day, I think it was the best video I could do. So I thought I'd start again, basically. And I think I'll take it a bit easier than I did last time. I haven't got my big pile of books here now, but I'll do a video. It's going to be a bit loose, just talking about the books I've read since we last spoke, guys. Today I finished something. It's a bit unusual stuff for the book club, but it was a graphic novel, Preacher, by Garth Ennis. And in the last video, which was an outtake technically, I said that was the same writer as Transmetropolitan, which is another really fabulously written comic, but that was Warren Ellis. This, however, is truly brilliantly written. This is the first volume of 9, basically. It's kind of about, my phone's going off again, I'm going to ignore it this time, okay? But it's about this preacher who, that's kind of obvious, but it's basically to do with, a kind of like, what if God was real, but what if this happened kind of scenario. I think it was definitely influenced on Kevin Smith's Dogma, because there's names on the front of it, just screaming over it. But it's really funny, really violent, really blasphemous, just hilarious, and really well written. It's probably the best comic I've ever read. I might go that far in terms of like an adult-oriented. It's not like particularly obscene or anything. I guess it kind of is, but like a mature reader's comic is probably the best, along with Transmetropolitan. The book I finished before that was a book also lent to me by my same friend Sam, which was Stephen King's On Writing, which is a mixture of autobiography and sort of guidelines for aspiring writers. Sam lent it to me when I was writing short stories, and I didn't get around to it, but now I actually definitely want to start writing them again, because it's very encouraging. The autobiography section is very interesting. I had a vision of Stephen King as being quite, a snobbish kind of prick. I don't know why. Just jealousy, I guess. But I really found it very readable. I read this. It's quite a big book. This is usually favour smaller books. I read it in like two sittings. Really, it was a really nice little book to read over New Year. And the guidelines are useful, but I think Stephen King himself admits he kind of found it hard to actually put into words his advice. But I do think it's very useful. It was obviously after his accident, and he does go into that, which is also quite interesting. So, fans of Stephen King, people who want to write, I would definitely recommend that. It's really good. It is the first Stephen King book I've read, which is weird. But it was interesting that I picked up a copy of Carrie, which I can probably grab without making too much of a scene. Here, which is a film time. Main reason I got it because I'm a bit of a collector. But to hear him talking about writing his first book, it's obviously nice to go on to this, so I might read this next. The other book I read since we last spoke, I did actually mention, was Ballard's Crash, and this is a book I really wish I had Chris on board for. I do remember back in the day, shortly after G.G. Ballard died, we were suggesting doing a Ballard season, going through loads of his books, but obviously we had a lot of technical trouble back then, and the same old book club stuff, really. But, this is a hard book to really go into any detail about. If you don't know what it's about, it's a very outwardly sick and disturbing book about people sort of in a sort of post-car crash shock, ending up kind of meshing it with their sexuality in a very really grotesque way. This is my third time trying to read it. I'm not sure whether it was sheer disgust or just distraction that stopped me reading it before, but I did finish it this time. And I'm going to say on some level I enjoyed it. I think the key adjective for this book is powerful. It's strange that it doesn't really seem to have a very arcing plot or anything, but I think the writing style in Ballard's most deranged form, and like the really most like amplified forms of his sort of themes he always goes back to, is really powerful in this. It's almost poetic at times, even when it's really offending someone as open-minded as myself. So I'd recommend it for you fans of really books that are going to be confrontational to you. But yeah, it's obviously dealing with these kind of dystopian themes that Ballard uses, of like how technology changes us as people, that kind of inner space notion, and here it's obviously to do with sexuality. So, yeah, it's an interesting book, and I'm glad I finally read it. It's weird this is the first Ballard book I actually finished. I want to read High Rise next, which I think might be a little more palatable, I should say, really. But who knows, it might shock the shit out of me again. So that's what I'll do for this video. I'm going to knock a few up in the next few days, just going through stuff I got for Christmas and the stuff I want to read this year. So thanks for viewing, thanks to our new subscribers, old subscribers. Yeah, see you shortly. Bye.